After 2 years, a global pandemic, and the lead actor suffering a heart attack, Better Call Saul is finally back, and as we all expected, the return of the king was not a disappointment. Episode 1 and 2, titled Wine and Roses and Carrot and Stick, were fantastic. They're very different episodes. The opener was heavier on symbolism, and the follow up was heavier on action, but they complement each other extremely well. I initially planned on making one video for both episodes, but Wine and Roses was just too dense thematically to do that, so I'll be putting out a video later in the week for Carrot and Stick, so be on the lookout for that. But today I'm going to be breaking down the season opener, and instead of sifting through the episode chronologically, I'm going to split my analysis into a few different sections that I believe will cover all the moments I want to talk about, and the first section is going to be the symbol of the episode. Probably the defining symbol of Better Call Saul to this point has been the Zafiro Anejo stopper, and to kick off the final season, the writers brought it back to frame the events that are about to unfold. The inclusion of the stopper has special significance this time around, since it falls out of the drawer of one of Saul's pieces of furniture as the authorities are clearing out his mansion. This is the very first connection we've ever seen between Breaking Bad Saul Goodman and his vanished wife, and the first sign that she was still on his mind while Walter White was burning everything to the ground. Before the symbol appears, we get to see pure Saul Goodman. The wardrobe, the outrageously over the top interior design, the mansion shows almost nothing about who its owner used to be in his previous life. A man who preferred to drive a little yellow car on the verge of death instead of a luxury vehicle gifted to him by his company. The question hanging over season 6 is, how the hell did he get to this point? He's adopted the name now, but what happens to his soul? How could it become so poisoned? The Zafiro stopper hints towards the answer, since it did belong to Kim. It was her keepsake. It was a reminder of the good times she had with Jimmy, and also a symbol of her darker, more independently motivated persona. The stopper suggests that it's not going to be a tragic death that severs Kim and Jimmy, but rather Kim's personal transformation, which I will dig into shortly. So for the rest of season 6, keep this image in the back of your mind, because just like the teddy bear in Breaking Bad, the showrunners are tipping their hand a little bit, but it's in a subtle way that only makes the scenes between Jimmy and Kim more fascinating.
Bye, Lydia.
So this next section I'm going to call Casualty Watch. Some of the characters we've grown to love are going to die this season, so every episode I want to discuss how the odds are looking for the contenders who don't appear in Breaking Bad. In Wine and Roses, the developments really only occur between Nacho and Lalo. We're going to be saying this a lot in season 6, but my god, poor Nacho. The man just cannot catch a break. He hasn't caught a break since season 1. He's kind of becoming like the Jesse of Better Call Saul. He's less innocent for sure, but like Jesse, he's always boxed in by men more powerful than himself. We learn very early on that Eladio has put a hit out on Nacho because he believes that he was responsible for Lalo's death, which is to be expected. Eladio is perhaps the biggest factor in the fate of Lalo and Nacho because he's the only one who has the authority to kill either man, and all the players of the game are aware of this. The way things stand, it would appear that Lalo has the upper hand on both Nacho and Gus, but there is one image in episode 1 that I think foreshadows his ultimate demise. This one right here. Lalo has a single goal: revenge. There is no room to improvise. Before Hector cools him down, he actually says, "Screw Eladio, I'm just going to go and kill him." He's not going to acquire the proof required to get Eladio's permission to whack Gus. If he did, Gus would not be in Breaking Bad. So he won't get permission from Eladio, and Bolsa is still Eladio's number 2, and Gus is Bolsa's guy. But will Lalo jump off his revenge path if he's commanded to? I don't think so. So although Nacho is the one running through the wilderness in a red shirt and being hidden in a no country for old men-esque motel, I think Lalo's odds of death increased more than his former protege. Also, anytime a character opens a season by killing innocent people, which is revealed by the chocolate syrup from Psycho, which I really liked, it's safe to assume that retribution is in order. And that retribution could very well come from the man who's giving Lalo bear hugs in season 5. Face expressions are a massive part of Better Call Saul and a key factor in its greatness. We aren't constantly being told what the characters are feeling. The writers have enough confidence in the actors to use their eyes and mouth to reveal their deepest emotions. And the defining face expression of Wine and Roses was this one right here from Jimmy. A peaceful Kim resting by his side, while his mind tortures him. The best parts of this episode for me were all focused around Kim and Jimmy. I recently watched the final two episodes of season 5, and there is some subtle dialogue in those episodes that hints towards what we're seeing transpire in season 6. At one point, Kim asks Jimmy, "How much are you going to get from the Sandpiper case?" And then Jimmy responds by saying, "We are going to get 20%." And then a little later on, Jimmy asks Kim what she'd do with the money from the settlement, and she describes to him the pro bono law firm she would set up. And then Jimmy somberly says that he would probably just get the two of them a house. So Kim is progressively becoming more Kim centric. And there are a couple of brilliant images early in Wine and Roses that continue this theme. Mirrors are a constant visual motif in Better Call Saul, and they usually reflect something about Jim and Kimmy's relationship. To open season 6, they get their own separate mirror, symbolizing the growing divide between them. And just after they walk out of the hotel, Kim throws the cup she gave to him into the garbage. Alongside the Zafiro stopper, the mug was the defining symbol of their relationship, the more loving side of their relationship. And Kim doesn't even feel the need to ask Jimmy about what to do with it before she makes a decision. And Jimmy is evidently hurt by how casually she makes a choice. It's as cold as we've ever seen Kim, but just as surprising is the fact that Jimmy does not say even a word. The entire episode, he's clearly trying to do everything in his ability not to antagonize Kim because he senses her moving away. Kim's behavior is also making it more difficult for Jimmy to switch into Saul mode, at least early in the episode. I think the problem for Jimmy is that he feels that the further Kim drifts away from her previous moral values, the more he has to take on the persona of Saul Goodman to keep the spark alive. But Jimmy is still far from the man he is in Breaking Bad, so it's not easy for him to be the person he thinks he needs to be for Kim to be satisfied with him. And that brings us to this shot. And drink it in because you'll probably only see it posted a million more times by cinephiles on Twitter. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous shot, and curiously, Kim is surrounded by prison bars. This could be a foreshadow. It's a bit on the nose, but anybody who's in the Kim is in prison during Breaking Bad camp should definitely feel better about their prediction. The conversation Jimmy and Kim share during this scene also gives us a lot of information to consider. We get more dialogue that is eerily similar to the exchange in the final episode of season 5. Kim tells Jimmy about her long day of doing pro bono work, and then tells Jimmy that it was one of the best days of her life, and then has to revise it to professional life after she can tell that Jimmy is taken aback. The development I think we're seeing in Kim is this. All of the schemes she's done with Jimmy have worked toward what Kim sees as a just result. Even the cons they've pulled together were done to people she thought were obnoxious. She's now getting that fulfillment from her job. We're starting to see that that sense of fulfillment comes first for Kim. And if Jimmy can help her get it, namely with Howard and HHM, great. But if he's a hindrance, there's a good chance she'll turn against him. It's important to remember that her disdain for Howard largely comes from the fact that he suggested that Jimmy was the reason she quit her job, which isn't too crazy a suggestion given Jimmy's personality and the fact that they're married, but Kim despises the idea that someone other than herself is shaping the direction of her life. So I believe that at some point, Jimmy will begin to get upset with the dedication Kim shows to her work, and Kim will not respond well, that is for sure. Kim's intense drive to pursue her perception of justice is almost certainly a consequence of her childhood, which we know very little about. I expect we'll see many revelations about her childhood before the season concludes, either through flashbacks like we got in season 5, or conversations with other characters. Kim also tells Jimmy an interesting story about her new client, who was a good kid who got roped into a gas station robbery with his rich friend. It's an interesting story and one that has parallels to Jimmy and Kim, of course. But the big question becomes, who is the armed robber and who is the getaway driver who got dragged into it? For most of Better Call Saul, I would have said that Jimmy is the robber, but the narrative is evolving rapidly. Kim is now the one who's roping Jimmy into a plot that he doesn't feel a deep need to pursue, and it's Kim who's encouraging Jimmy to expand on the brand of Saul Goodman. There will be many twists and turns during season 6, and Kim will make decisions that we don't foresee, but after episodes 1 and 2, I think a scenario is being built in which Jimmy morphs into Saul Goodman in an attempt to hold on to Kim, and then is either abandoned or loses Kim to prison. You can never rule out the gun of Lalo, especially with the ending of episode 2, but that's the direction I see the wind blowing at this moment. If you have some thoughts on episode 1 and the symbolism on display, make sure to leave them in the comment section. Also, be on the lookout for an episode 2 breakdown. It will be coming out in the near future. And make sure to subscribe on your way out if you want more Season 6 content. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.